Call should be
Hello.
set. Oh, hey, how you doing?
Doing alright. Actual video caller, eh?
I started a voice call, I thought, but maybe not. It might convert to a video call when I share screen.
Yeah, it's possible. I
Okay.
didn't think so, but I figured you maybe wanted my capture was why.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't have it set up to capture you right now anyway.
Yeah. I'll turn off video then.
Okay. So, level 6 treasures. These are pretty universally good. And
Yeah.
not
The
super
fives and
situational.
sixes, like, it's kind of night and day rating like the 5s and the 6s from like rating the 4s.
Yeah, there's a big gap between, 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
And then another big gap between 5s and 6s even.
Yeah.
So, first one here, we've got Embiggening Stone. Level 2 and 3 characters in your shop have plus 15, plus 15. Probably the most situational of the
There's
treasures.
really only 7 of these.
Yeah, there's really not that many. It's really nice with doublies, but not good enough that you can really reliably have a late game plan of rolling and picking doublies and going off with Embiggening Stone. For the most part, Embiggening Stone's at its best when you're cheating it out with like Horde Dragon. If you get like a level 4 Embiggening Stone, you can coast your way into top 2 and usually find some way to get a win from there as well.
Waddle has a bunch of ways of cheating this out, and it's pretty
Yeah.
gross on Waddle.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah.
That said, it's only good when you're cheating it out, and I don't know if like that's good enough
Yeah.
to put
Every
it
now and then
anywhere.
it's okay as a value treasure. Like, I would say if you're on 6 as dwarves, it's one of the less bad ones to take sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not really enough to buy it as, like, being good.
I think the
Like-
big thing against it is even when you're cheating out a level 6 treasure, it's not the one you're looking for. You'd rather have Ivory Owl almost every time.
Yeah, sometimes it is the one you're looking for, though. I've definitely taken it over Owl.
Depends how early, I guess, but yeah.
But, like, yeah. Like, I'm really sad if I, like, miss Owl and I find a Embiggening Stone and it's, like, level 4. Like, it's still such a huge advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
You can argue Ivory Owl maybe converts better throughout the game, but Embiggening Stone is just buying you, like, infinite tempo.
I take way more Ivory Owls on 6 than I take Embiggening Stones on 6.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, yeah.
Just by
I
the
don't think
nature of the
that's-
rest of these, I think it has to be DRF, just because of how rarely you take it. It's impactful when you take it, but it's sort of like
think
Harvest Moon.
I am morally opposed to putting a treasure that's not, like, aggressively bad, not, like, in F tier. I would put it in D.
Sure. Yeah,
D is probably the lowest tier that should be used for level 6 treasures, because none of these are bad.
that's fair.
I would almost be tempted to put it in C even. Like, I think by, like, overall non-6 treasure standards, it's, like, probably a C tier treasure. But I guess it's a little bit situational. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just too infatuated by it when it's good. It's sort of similar to Reduplicator, but scaled up, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
really good when it's good.
It's a lot of
Although
fun.
You could make a case that we should have put Redup in C, the more I think about it.
Maybe. It's always gonna be weird, right? Whenever you're trying to
Yeah.
rate stuff that's so situational.
It is really weird. But we probably should try to be consistent, so I guess from that perspective, I would
Yeah.
give it like a high D.
I could see that. It's gonna be the last place of these level 6s, right? So regardless,
Surely.
yeah. Next up, we've got Evil Eye. Double your support bonuses. What are your thoughts on Evil Eye? It's
You know,
usually...
it's so weird.
Yeah. It's not even particularly good when you're doing the slay stuff. It's often... Like, you'll take it when you're in trees. Because you see, like, Spear of Achilles, Embiggening Stone, Evil Eye, and just giving another plus 40 to your board. With your, or plus 40 plus
There are a
0.
lot of there are a lot of times I take it over more than just those two
Yeah.
in trees. Like, I usually take it over one. And, I mean, it depends a lot on which 6s you find and whether you have the Heartwood triple. But,
Exactly.
like, if you have the triple Heartwood, it's like very close to an Ivory Owl already in terms of raw stats. Like, you're doubling 8/8 and it's going on to key units.
hmm
And like, if you have like a Green Knight or two laying around at that point, I would say it's pretty comparable to Ivory Owl.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Evil Eye is just so weird because sometimes it's either the best treasure of all of these in like rare situations, or it's like something you can pick. Like it's maybe a little more like it's more stomachable than Embiggening Stone when it's not what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And you get it.
Exactly. I think the big thing with Evil Eye is attack is really easy to come by. Like, you have Magic Sword, you have Singing Sword.
To say Evil Eye might be better than Embiggening Stone when it's good. And it's, I think it's also just more generally pickable, so I like it in C.
I think I'd agree with that. Yeah, it's a treasure that gets you health too, which is just really hard to come by in general.
I had a really sick Evil Eye game this morning.
Yeah.
It just had so many turns of Evil Eye trees, and it was like I pivoted from Mimic Wild Growth into Mimic Evil Eye.
Ooh.
And I had like 200 health trees without Round Table.
Oh, that's always nice. Okay, next up we've got Ivory Owl. The start of the brawl, give your characters +2/+2 permanently. So this is the big one that you're looking to cheat out when you're looking at the level 6 pool. Even as early, even as late as like mid-high level 5, this is often going to be the treasure that you're looking for if you're not biased towards a particular comp that really wants Magic Sword or Singing Sword already. If you plan on staying in your units.
This is where rating treasures starts to get really hard, because it's like, how high do you rate these?
Yeah. I think the rest of these treasures are all like situationally the best treasure you could take on level 6. Except maybe Spear.
I was going to say I disagree with that on Spear. I think it's pretty rare that Spear is actually the one you want.
Yeah.
If
you already have Singing Sword and you're like in some summon comp, it can be.
Notably, it is the only treasure on this list that will unconditionally give health, which is sometimes relevant.
Exactly.
But I feel like that's the only reason you could make that case. If there was like a tier 6 treasure that was more dedicated towards giving health, you would just pick that one over Spear in that situation.
Yeah, probably. So, yeah, Owl.
So this is where it gets weird. I feel like you kind of can't talk about one of these without talking about the others. Because it's like...
Yeah. So, like, Owl versus Spear of Achilles. Just compare them straight up. Spear of Achilles works better with summons, but ignoring summons, Owl is very similar, just as far as tempo goes, to Spear of Achilles. Getting +2/+2 to the whole team, and like half your team gets to attack per battle, because presumably some of your stuff is going to die to the opponent attacking.
And it's also faster. You're not, like, you're protecting your board from combat spells right away.
Yeah, it boosts your Echo Wood off the bat, too.
Yeah. I mean, Spear boosts Echo Wood, too.
But not off the bat.
Nice, but not off the bat. It definitely, like, I will say, I think Ivory Owl is the best 6 in Good Boy. Like, 100%. I think Sword Boy is a little overrated. I think the only times I'm happy to be in Good Boy are when I get an early Owl.
I sort of agree. You do really want your Good Boy to have some health.
And what the fuck else do you buy besides Good Boys and Robin Woods? So, like, you may as well just take advantage of Robin Wood for your attack, and then get a treasure that can actually scale you into a winning board.
I think the big thing with the Magic Sword is the Magic Sword instantly makes your Good Boy great, where the Ivory Owl takes at least a couple of turns. Like, a 5/5 Good Boy is fine, but not the most exciting.
I think my opinion, like, I don't know, it kind of, like, you kind of just have to relativize these to each other at a certain point. I think my opinion is that there should be 3 S tiers and 2 B tiers of the remaining 5 treasures. I think Magic Sword, Singing Sword, and Owl are all extremely close. Mm-hmm. And I think Wand and Spear are pretty close. You could maybe argue Wand and A.
Yeah. I feel like enough of the time I'd rather have a Magic Sword or a Singing Sword to the Owl that I'd want to put Owl below. Like, I think the way I would place these would be this. But I can definitely see an argument for this.
I mean, I don't think you can ever put Spear above B.
Spear, sure.
Like, Spear of anything could be a C.
There are enough times that it's good. I don't know. Maybe.
Like, there are enough times where it's, like,
Yeah,
Like, like if you're calling Spear, like, when is Spear, like, Ivory Owl is often better when Spear is good. Like,
Spear works better with
really
summons.
think
That would be the main
it
reason.
doesn't, though. Like, I kind of still would rather have an owl with summons.
Usually with Pumpkin, you'd rather have Spear of Achilles. It plays really nice with the
know.
Singing Sword, too.
I picked owl over Spear so often with Pumpkin.
Yeah, I don't. I also tend to play like a lot of 3 big pigs in my Pumpkin
Like-
comps. I don't know.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
I don't know. I like having bigger units. I mean, it depends how early you get it, obviously. I think eventually you would pick Spear over Owl in a Pumpkin comp if you're talking a late 6.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But, like,
If you get it early enough, you're always picking the
I think
Owl.
no matter what comp you're in, First Treasure Owl is totally on the same, like, the same tier or better than, like, the 2 swords.
Yeah, as long as you have the life. Like, the Owl just doesn't stabilize you as fast as the swords do.
Yeah.
And with the swords, you don't...
The swords don't always stabilize you as fast as you want them to.
It depends if you have the
the
payoff
thing.
unit, yeah. Like, if you've already got the
Sword,
Pumpkin...
the magic sword is the best. Like, the magic sword you can make the argument for.
Yeah.
But I feel like the singing sword is very similar to the owl in terms of what it's trying to do. But like even the magic sword, you might have the wrong target. And like if we're talking early treasures, like
Magic Sword's really bad early.
Yeah, magic sword is...
I've cheated out 6s so many times and just died because I picked Magic Sword.
Yeah, magic sword is not that good early.
Because the attack's just irrelevant. Like, the difference between 20 attack and 120 attack is nothing.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what the treasure's designed around, right? Like,
Exactly.
If you just took it on, like, a stats per treasure basis, Magic Sword would probably be the most efficient one.
Mm-hmm. But just not how the numbers matter.
Yeah.
Until you get to level 6 and you start... even, like, Baby Bear, I guess, is pretty good with Magic Sword, but... When you get to level 6 and start getting, like, Doom Breaths and Good Boys, then the Magic Sword starts to become really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. So weird to rate these.
Yeah.
Because, like, to some extent, you're also rating comps.
Exactly. Yeah. Wand of Weirding, I think, is this...
You could almost argue Singing Sword is the worst of the 3 in S if you wanted to argue that Bearstein is that bad. And, like, Pumpkin can do comparably well with Magic Sword.
Yeah.
Your Pumpkin comp gets very varying mileage out of Singing Sword compared to Magic Sword, depending on which units you have. It's kind of weird.
One of the
Like,
things
if
that...
you have, like, a Grumble Gore, you're suddenly way more excited to have the Singing Sword.
Yeah.
If you, like, don't, it's, like, often just irrelevant on apple trees. If you have 2 of them, you're pretty unexcited to have it.
Yeah. One of the things Pumpkin does best is just keep refreshing that Magic Sword slot. Like, the
Yeah,
first attack,
I
Doom
think
Breath, is
on
huge.
average- I think on average the Magic Sword is better in Pumpkin, even though there are definitely situations where I've looked for one or the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
I
we've kinda
feel like Apple just plays to a different condition and is just so good so often, and even when you're struggling in life, a lot of times, like, I'll be on, like, 1 hit from dying and take an owl if I ramp to 6 quickly. Like,
it depends what your board is, but yeah. Definitely. The Owl is just good tempo, too.
Yeah.
Like, 14-14 is a third of a Monkey Paw immediately. Doesn't work with summons, but you get to play an extra unit.
Yeah.
So Wand of Weirding is the only one that we didn't really talk about. Whenever you buy a spell, cast it twice. I know there's a lot of people that are a lot lower on Wand of Weirding than this, but I think the ability... Like, at the end of the game...
Wand of Weirding is the most high variance of any of these.
Yeah. You probably take it...
Wand of Weirding can be worse than Embiggening Stone, and it can be the one you need.
Yeah. I would say you probably take it the least out of the good treasures, but sometimes you get to the point in the game where the attack is just irrelevant because you already have... Like, you have Singing Sword, you have a bunch of attack on your front line, you know how much health the opponent has, so you don't need it. So you take the Wand of Weirding and just try to spike, like, Pigamorphs and Shrivels and try to win that way. There are some comps that just fall apart to combat spells, and Wand lets you capitalize on
Wand of Weirding is very different. I think when I miss Ivory Owl, and I don't have use for Embiggening Stone, Wand is what I'm aiming to cheat out.
Really?
Because you can double XP spells, which can be insane. You can double Full Twin, which very quickly gets you to the 6 you want, and you have a wand.
Yeah, if you're getting it fast enough, sure.
Like, I think that's what's actually the most gold efficient, because the problem with doubling combat spells is, like, you only are excited to play combat spells on, like, the last few turns of the game.
Yeah, it's just on the last few turns of the game, once you're in that 1v1 position, Wand of Weirding will often be the treasure you're looking for, because the others are irrelevant.
Will always have value near the end of the game.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're in mages and you, like, missed a mage treasure, Wand of Weirding is a very nice backup to have. You can find it off of Hercules, which is really nice.
I mean, it's better than Forking Rod, just, like, strictly, right?
Yeah, but I mean, compared to Forking Rod, I think it's weaker for its treasure costs, especially when 4s are so bad and 6s are so good.
Yeah. I mean, when you want to have... Your treasures want to be, like, Merlin's Hat, Crystal Ball,
tier.
Wand of Weirding.
I think you could argue that the 3 S tiers are, like, a full 2 tiers better than every other treasure. I know if we do that, you're gonna move the owl to A just because you like symmetry or whatever. And I don't want the owl in A. I really like the owl in S. I think the owl is insane.
I think there's a gap between the top 3 and the 4th, but yeah, I don't think it's a 2-tier gap. I do also think that there's a little bit of a gap between the swords, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes the Singing Sword is, like, insanely better than the Magic Sword.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes the Magic Sword is insanely better than the Singing Sword.
Yeah.
Sometimes
like,
they're completely interchangeable and you don't care which one you get.
In the late game, you usually want the Singing Sword, has been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the Magic Sword in, like, exactly the mid-game is really good.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we
It's the easiest to play off of.
About all of the 6s, a bit out of order. So I guess let's move on to the 7s, which are similarly very small.
It's just so hard to go in order with the 6s, right? There's only 7 of them, and they're all so weird.
Speaking of weird treasures. So we're starting off on Excalibur. All characters in your shop are upgraded. I gained a lot of respect for Excalibur over the last couple of days. I had a game a couple hours ago even, where I just took an Excalibur on... I think it was like the first turn of level 6, and then I just went trees. And I didn't even need any treasures, because Shoulder Fairies, Ashwood Elm, Echo Wood is just a billion stats.
Excalibur, okay. First of all, what the fuck is the baseline for a 7 treasure?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to, I don't know what we're calling a C tier. Like, what is an expected value for a 7 treasure? Like, that's already very hard. We're starting off on Excalibur, which I think, other than maybe Holy Grail, is the most hit or miss of all of these.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try to go weakest to strongest.
Okay.
I think the weakest is generally going to be Phoenix Feather?
There are 2 you could argue for the weakest. It's either the Feather or the Wand, if you don't care about the dust.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Holy Grail, honestly.
I'm with you. After Roundtable went to 7, I don't like Grail anywhere near as much.
You could argue are the weakest. I think Excalibur, when it's strong, is too strong. I think Mirror Mirror, when it's strong, is too strong. And I think Roundtable, when it's strong, is too strong to ignore. And none of them are, like, just generically bad treasures by any means.
Excalibur cheats on tempo so hard when you get it early. Like, it turns into a board faster than Mirror Mirror or Roundtable does.
A guaranteed top 2, top 3.
Yeah.
Which is definitely, like, if you get it early, you're guaranteed to do well. If you get it when you already have treasures, a lot of times it's helping you a lot.
Yeah.
It's just when you get it sort of late, and then, like, still need to find treasures, when you just, like, don't want to take it at all.
When you're, like, halfway into a pumpkin comp, it's just not what you want. Okay, let's... So, I don't know.
Excalibur is so weird.
It really just depends when you get it. Like,
I don't know if I would rate any of these S tier. I don't think any of them are deserving, compared to, like, the power level of 6s for the difficulty of obtaining 6 treasures. I think Excalibur could be an A, could be a B. I think Excalibur is at least above average. I think I personally would give it a B. I don't pick it like that often. I think usually there's like a 7 that's more exciting.
I don't
it's like
pick
maybe
it
just the second best.
that often either, but I think that I should be picking it more than I do, and that's why I want to put it higher. Like, I think I've been undervaluing Excalibur for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy thing to do because I think it's also the most boring 7.
Yeah. Like locking yourself out of treasures for the rest of the game is not
1.
exciting.
Yeah. It is a little more unique than Phoenix Feather or Wand, but it's like also kind of unique in a boring way.
I actually have the opposite opinion. I think that it's sort of unique in a kind of interesting way, and that it lets you take advantage of comps that don't really work with units that aren't upgraded.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of true. Like, you're gonna do, but like, those are the same, like, couple of comps, right? Like, you're gonna play Shoulder Fairies or you're gonna play Lordy, right? Like,
I think you can actually.
Gonna do.
If you're getting Excalibur on 5, I think there's actually an argument that you're supposed to go like Chupiaga. Chupiaga scales so fast.
That's interesting. I guess I did see some people like meme around with Jorm Excalibur.
Yeah, like Jorm instantly stabilizes you on 6. Like it's going to get a Slay early on.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't either. I would need to play with it more.
Before, like, you do. The other thing to note about Excalibur, you still need to find the units. Like, it's not as high tempo of a treasure as you would think. It's not going to save you from dying per se, unless you're very close to not dying already.
I think there's enough things you can hit though
for it to kick in.
Yeah. I don't know. Like even just like picking up apple trees with double health is often gonna help stabilize. Stuff like Oni King becomes a lot better, as Shinigami saying in chat.
Yeah, Oni
There's like all these units that
cute.
Previously wouldn't be good become good.
It really depends. Like, I think the biggest thing about Excalibur is like how high rolly is the biggest high roller in your lobby.
Yeah.
Like, the later you get it, the more on average, like the best player in your lobby has snowballed, and the worse this becomes because this your ceiling just got so much lower. But like,
yeah,
if no one's like, if you get this in like the mid game and no one's really developed yet, then like you can just blow
just gonna
people
kill everybody
into the water with this and like kill everyone.
Yeah. Yep, it does depend definitely when you're getting it and what comps you're already in. Like if I'm, I don't know. With Mirror is such a weird one too.
I think I know where I would put Mirror. I'm not confident, but like I think I know at this point.
Well, I'm gonna leave Excalibur here for now as we talk about Fairy Queen's Wand.
We can move these around.
Yeah, for sure. Your characters have +5/+5. Whoever gets first place gets +100 bonus fairy dust. So really, the in-game effect is your characters have +5/+5.
I was gonna say the first question is, do we value the dust at all?
No, it's not even that much dust.
A whole different axis, right? It's like, how would you do that?
Yeah, I just sort of see this as a better monkey paw.
I mean, if you're grinding, it's a relevant amount of dust. Like, you say it's not that much dust, and we're two people that own basically all the heroes.
It's one.
It's a slightly better monkey paw for way more than a monkey paw, and in some cases it's not even that much better of a monkey paw because you're usually picking a monkey paw when the condition is not that much of a negative.
I think most of the time that I've taken Fairy Queen's Wand, I've replaced monkey paw with it. I'm just
really
like
funny.
I'm just in one of those comps already, and I'm in that comp because I have monkey paw. So
yeah, it's kind of fair enough.
We go replacing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would give it a D. I think 5/5 for 7 is just too underwhelming to give it.
I agree.
Higher than
it's
the
just
D.
too comparable to a level 5 treasure. You have to work so much harder.
I put it in F because I think a lot of people just disrespect it way too much.
Yeah, like it's still a powerful effect. It's just expensive for what you're paying for it. Mirror. This is probably the weirdest treasure in the whole game. When one of your starting characters on the front row dies, summon a 1/1 plain copy of it. So notably, this goes off before the good boy buff goes off. I think that's the biggest interaction of. So you have a good boy. It's boosted with
like
whatever,
anything, right? Like friendly spirit.
Yeah.
Or like anything like that.
Yeah. So the good boy dies. You may get a 1/1 copy, and then that 1/1 copy gets the stats of the initial good boy. So it's sort of like having two good boys, in addition to just the rest of your front row being doubled as well. Has a lot of minor synergies as well. Like pivoting into good boy is a lot easier because this makes your godmother so much better. It makes like your court wizards a lot better because you just have way more prince princesses on the front row. It also works really well in some scam comps. Apple Tree is coming back, Medusa's coming back, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I've been pretty unimpressed with the Mirror Mirror scam stuff.
I would put it in C. I'm just gonna say that right now. It gets a C for ceiling.
C for ceiling.
Like, it's the only one of these besides Roundtable that, like, very directly does something to win you the game. But, like, it's usually doing something when you get it. But, like, the fact that it usually has to do something when you get it because 7s are such an investment really limits when you can pick it.
Maybe
it's
I'm just
rarely doing more than these other ones when you pick it, like, compared to, like, Feather or Fairy Queen's Wand. And it takes a long-ass time to come alive.
Does it, though? Like, depending on what you're in, it can be live immediately. If you're doing, what's the card called?
I'm not a big believer in the Mirror Mirror scam.
I'm not either.
Like,
I'm a big believer in the Mirror Mirror Good Boy stuff, and I think the Mirror Mirror Good Boy
yeah, that's when I'd take it.
Is really
but,
easy.
Like, I feel like you need a minimum of 2 Good Boys for the Mirror Mirror to really be paying you off hard.
It makes the first Good Boy a lot better. I don't know if you need to.
But, like, are you getting your 7 when you already have a Good Boy and you have, like, okay, if you already have a Good Boy, it's probably your pick, right? That's worth something. I think that's why I'm putting it in C. I honestly think it's kind of janky on your average board.
It's also just good with, like, Court Wizards and Godmothers, which are things that I want to be in the mid-game. So, like, when I'm taking Mirror Mirror, I know what my comp is.
I guess that's kind of true.
And if I'm a comp that wants, like, that kind of effect can pivot into Good Boy, then I'm really happy taking Mirror Mirror. Because I just have this potential.
The reason I don't like Mirror Mirror is just because I don't like good boards.
I like good boards in the mid-game a lot. I just don't like what they become and, like, how you have to find Good Boy.
Yeah. Good boards in the mid-game, like, if I see an early Godmother, I like it okay. But if I don't see an early Godmother, I kind of avoid it like the plague.
Yeah, I mean, the Godmother is sort of the reason why it works.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to put it in...
I've lost too many games from playing Godmother that's good in mid-game.
Sure. It's usually the Godmother that makes me want to go good rather than, like, try to find apple trees and stuff, but... I feel like I have to put it in B, but I think that might just be because I'm in the Godmother comp so much.
Yeah, it has the technical highest ceiling of any of these, but, like, it's also more scammable than Roundtable.
Yeah, that's definitely
like,
true.
Even if you get the ceiling, you could just get Medusa'd.
Yeah. It's certainly the most fun of any of these treasures, right? So that might also be a reason why I'm overvaluing it. It just lets you do things that you can't otherwise do.
In theory, Roundtable should be fun, and yet we've just seen it so much that it's not fun anymore.
I mean, I haven't seen it too much yet, but maybe. Roundtable.
From when it was, yeah. Recently nerfed treasure.
Yeah. Phoenix Feather. The first time your highest attack character dies, summon it. This is one that It's usually the best one for dwarves, and I feel like that's it.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that's it. It's the best one for Slay. Like, you can do Jorm shit with it.
True.
Honestly, I've taken it in Slay a fair... Like, it is a pretty noticeable boost in any comp with a big unit. Even, like, Shoulder Fairy Echowood stuff. Like, any comp with an Echowood, this does fine in.
That's fair.
I think as a raw stats treasure, it's a very different distribution from Fairy Queen's Wand. I actually think I take it more, but I think I like it same tier. I feel like I'm taking them for the same reasons, which is that I need something that gives me a boost now, and none of the win condition 7s are a win condition here, and I can't survive to try to pretend that this Holy Grail is going to do something.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, anytime you've got an Echowood that's getting to like 200-300 stats, Phoenix Feather starts to become a consideration. And a lot of the time, the comps that want Phoenix Feather are completely different than the comps that want Fairy Queen's Wand. So, like, Fairy Queen's Wand is pretty good with, like, Bearstein.
The ceiling on Phoenix Feather is a lot higher than Fairy Queen's Wand.
Yeah.
There are some really cute things you can do with, like, a Sword Good Boy Phoenix Feather.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I remember getting stomped by Kleck doing that to me once when I was, like, really, I was very sad about it.
When I have the Good Boy already, I'm not usually looking for Phoenix Feather. Like, I'd rather just take the Mirror Mirror.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I feel like I gotta put it
it could be better by enough that you put it in C.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the wand is sometimes pumpkin and I guess Bearstein that wants it more.
Yeah,
but like every other
that
comp
might
is
be
probably
fair.
gonna prefer Phoenix Feather.
Phoenix Feather is like very average, although I do feel like for the investment you put into a 7, I'd rather just have a 6. Like, I'm only happy when I'm getting exactly like map into 5, or like something super cheap like a runestone that I didn't have to invest in.
Yeah, it's funny, it used to be a 6, I think before you started playing, but they nerfed it, like I think right before you started playing. Okay, the Holy Grail. After this next brawl, gain more gold than you could ever spend. I used to be really high on Holy Grail and would take it over everything.
Yeah.
But then Round Table went to 7, and it is impossible to get Holy Grail and then Round Table if you're not Horde Dragon.
Holy Grail into Round Table was already definitely not guaranteed. With like between the this treasure is the hardest to rate in the game because it does depend on latency.
I'm usually pretty good on latency, so I'm not too worried about it. So it's probably better for me than most.
This shit always lags for me.
Yeah.
And it's like how much gold do you usually spend on Holy Grail? I want to say I maybe spend like roughly 70.
I think I'm about the same. Let's see. I usually replace most of my board with 6s and roll a bunch, so...
I usually don't replace my board that much. I do a lot of rolling. I kind of only look for like a couple of key units.
I'm usually just trying to find level 6 treasures, so I'm trying to buy like almost every 6 that I see that I have room for.
Yeah, it's kind of fair. I probably should be buying more when I get a Holy Grail.
Yeah, like I think that's supposed to be the plan, is you take Holy Grail to both improve your board, and then you get a level 6 treasure on the following turn. And like that combined makes the Grail worth it.
I mean, that's the plan, right? The reality is this thing might be F tier.
Yeah, I mean, depending on your latency, sure.
I kind of hate the Grail. Like, it's the only treasure that does absolutely nothing the turn you get it.
Yeah.
And I've had so many Grails just backfire for every Grail that works. Like, it's weird because sometimes it is at least generalistic, and there are some comps that just don't really care much about the feather or the wand, or sometimes you don't see them, you see only the specific ones. You could maybe argue that it's in the the wand tier. I don't know. It feels like without the guaranteed win condition of the round table, it feels like no matter what comp you're aiming towards, like I used Holy Grail to buy exclusively Good Boys and Robin Hoods, and I got 1 Good Boy and 1 Robin Hood.
Yeah, like I'd rather take one of the win the game treasures over it almost every time.
I did not buy it. I did not buy a single other unit besides a Good Boy and a Robin Hood because I thought that would max my efficiency on digging for those, and that was what would matter to try to get a 6. And I failed to get a 6 off of Holy Grail.
Oh no!
And it was disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was my most recent Holy Grail.
I feel like it's enough better than Phoenix Feather and enough comps that I want to put it above Phoenix Feather, but...
I really don't. I hate this piece of shit.
It does depend on your latency.
I think the only one you could argue that, it's generalistically better than is Wand. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna start taking Phoenix Feather over it whenever I can.
I need an APM tier.
Other than the fact that it's, fun. Holy Grail is fun, and I overplay it for that reason. Which is really tough. So, I don't know how to rate it.
Yeah. I'm gonna place this...
Feather's a lot more quiet, but Feather definitely does have an impact.
That's true. I mean, I feel like Grail generally has an impact, too, and it's pretty obvious when you can and can't take it.
Yeah, but I mean, it still factors into the rating, right? Feather, you can always take it. That's the strength of Feather.
Yeah, but when Grail is good, I think it's a lot better than Feather.
I don't. That's why I would put it below Feather. I think it's, sometimes better than Feather if you get a lucky Grail.
I don't know. I think, fix my board, get a magic sword, or fix my board, get a singing sword, or fix my board, get an ivory owl is a little bit too impactful to...
It's strong and it's idealistic. I feel like my experience is half the time is it doesn't fix my board and I don't get a singing sword.
It feels pretty rare to me.
It's definitely not a one-off game. I've had a lot of dead grails.
I've had a couple of dead grails, but they're pretty rare compared to how often the grail is great.
I took more grails when Round Table was a thing, so those grails were pretty good.
True.
But even some of those I didn't complete, and then I lucked out the next turn.
I mean, that's part of the thing, right? Like, you end up with a bunch of 6 pairs at least. 6 pairs that you want.
I mean, yeah, like, that makes, yeah, that is an impact. It's probably a tier better than Fairy Queen.
It's so many time walks. Like, even if you're only spending 70 gold, that's like 6 turns.
Yeah, but, like, I guess.
Yeah.
Assuming you don't roll over the unit you want. That's another risk of Holy Grail.
I'm gonna put it like, assuming you have good internet and assuming you can play quickly, that I'll put it here. It obviously scales with how well you can get it to work, but assuming optimal conditions, I think it's better than Phoenix Feather. And lastly, we have the Round Table, the previously level 6 treasure. At the start of each brawl, your characters become the highest of their attack and their health. Really good with Echo Wood. Really good with Ashwood Elm.
Yeah.
Pretty good with mages, I guess, if that is ever a thing that you're trying to do.
Every now and then it's a thing.
Yeah. Generally, you take Round Table and then you're trying to pivot into trees, and if you hit, you have one of the strongest comps in the game. I think it is. I think I agree that it is probably better to be Round Table trees than be like Mirror Mirror Good Boy most of the time. It's easier to get together and probably stronger in like the average case, like before 2 Good Boys come online.
It's so strong even in the early game. You can just buy 20/20s.
I mean, you can always buy 20/20s. That's what Ashwood Elms do. I think by the time when you get the second Ashwood Elm,
I'm like 5. You can buy 20/20s pre-6 with Round Table.
Oh, sure. If you're getting it pre-6.
Yeah, which is like up a lot of that happens more often than you'd think, right? Like a lot of the heroes that are even getting 7s have the ability to cheat 7s. Like you're usually seeing these on like Celestial Tiger or like Horde Dragon type shit.
That's true. I feel like most of the time that I see a 7, it's just I have map and like go for neons. But I guess that's also on level 5 a lot of the time, so yeah.
In my opinion, this is easily the best one.
Yeah. I definitely put it above Mirror Mirror, and I do probably think it's a tier better, but like I could see doing this too.
I think no way.
I have a lot of respect for Mirror Mirror. I don't know, the comps usually work out for me, but
if any of them are S, it's Round Table, but I do think Round Table is a little sluggish, especially for a 7. Like when you're getting it early, you usually just win the game, but like when you're already in a comp and you're 6-ish, the transition, like, a lot of comps are really, like, already rather round. And it's, like, very low immediate impact.
Yeah, that's
and
the
it's, like,
thing.
Takes a couple of quite a couple of turns to really come online.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't think any of these belong in S, but I think Round Table is easily, like,
Round Table has the highest ceiling, yeah. Which is crazy, because last patch it was just a thing we were doing all the time.
Like, if Mirror Mirror Good Boy and Round Table trees, like, if it was as simple as they have a showdown, the Mirror Mirror Good Boy would win. But, like, I feel like from a pragmatic approach, you would rather be Round Table. And, like, there's just so much, like, with early Round Table is so much better than early Mirror Mirror.
I think it depends.
It just is.
I think I'd rather have early Mirror Mirror if I'm in Godmother.
I mean, sure, like, irrespective of comp is my argument. Like,
sure.
Like,
assuming you have to make a full pivot to make the treasure good, yeah, I'd take Round Table every time.
Obviously, Mirror Mirror does more.
Yeah.
But like, if you're like if you have like a tree on your board, Round Table is already kind of high impact.
Okay. So the way that I see this is when I'm on 5, if I'm in Godmother, I want to go Mirror Mirror. If I'm in like something that wants to go trees, like I have some trees or my units aren't fully round, then I'll take Round Table because it immediately improves my board. And if I don't have either of that, then I'm looking for Excalibur. If I'm on level 5.
I think that's reasonable. I'm usually not looking for Excalibur because when I get a 7, I want memes. I take a lot of Holy Grails, even though I would rate it even lower than you do.
I think Excalibur actually leads to the best memes. I'm not even kidding. I think you can do some really wacky stuff with Excalibur.
But everyone wants APM. Memes just mean APM, apparently.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do want to do this just because I think those three situations probably come up somewhat evenly, and I do think there's a tier gap here.
No. Oh my god.
I
mean, it's your list, so I can't stop you, but no.
I feel like you don't respect Mirror Mirror enough. I don't know.
What are you putting Mirror Mirror, like, besides Good Boy?
It's just Good Boy. And, like, you stay in Godmother until you find it. Stay in Godmother Court Wizards.
You can go from literally any board to Round Table. It's so janky to have to build an entire Good Boy board, find the critical numbers of Good Boys, and have a treasure that does less than a Round Table on your way there.
I don't know that it does less than a Round Table on your way there. It's a lot of Godmother stats. It's a lot of Court Wizard procs.
I mean, just my opinion.
Yeah. You can do some cheeky stuff in early 6s with, like, Jorms, too. Go, like, Grimsoul Jorm. Delicious.
That is kind of cute.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm also a little biased against Round Table, and that Round Table's the most boring of the three, but...
I don't know, I always enjoy just stomping the lobby with, like, 9,000 billion health Echo Woods.
I'd rather stomp the lobby with, like, giant Jorms from Excalibur, or some wacky Mirror board that just randomly works, but yeah.
The Round Table. It's pretty silly that, like, Phoenix Feather got nerfed before Round Table and apparently had a higher win rate. And now that they're both 7s, Round Table just feels blatantly way better than Phoenix Feather.
Yeah. It is a little weird.
Like, how does that happen? Is it just learning? Like, did players not figure out that the Round Table comp was good? I feel like it was pretty obvious what the Round Table comp was.
I don't think any of the units changed. At least not in a relevant way. Like, Heartweight Elder changed a bunch, but that doesn't really matter.
Well, there's a little, but not, yeah. By the time you get to endgame, it really doesn't.
Still overtrained on Round Table being good? Nah, Round Table was bonkers. Like, there's a reason that it won.
Round Table was not okay.
Yeah.
Round Table just was the endgame board of literally more lobbies than not. Like,
even Good Boy wanted to be Round Table.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
The best boards were like Round Table, Magic Sword, Good Boy.
Yep. Which, like, that to me, I feel like is another thing that, like, justifies Round Table over Mirror by, like, a full tier. Is, like, you could still do that. Like, Round Table with a Magic Sword is high impact, even before you get your comp. I guess you could say a similar thing about Mirror.
Like, yeah, I feel like the thing there is...
But, like, a lot of the things you can do with Mirror are not that great. Like, Baby Bear, for example, like, you can't really Mirror and Magic Sword.
If we're talking about getting these on 6, like, in the middle of level 6 when we already have something going on, then, like, Excalibur falls all the way down to, like, here. But I just don't know if that's the context that you want to evaluate these in. Because it's not usually when you're getting them.
I think Excalibur. I think you've sold me on Excalibur. I don't know if I would say you've sold me to like A tier heights, but I'm honestly more okay with it in A tier than Mirror.
A couple days ago, I would have put it like Phoenix Feather tier.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it definitely has the potential to be worse than Phoenix Feather.
Yeah, because you don't get a treasure for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But there are just comps that you can go in that you can't go otherwise that are just fine with that.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah. So those were the level 6 and level 7 treasures. Fun to be joined by you for this, Redrame. Maybe we'll do the units in the future.
As always, I enjoyed it.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Cheers.
That was Redrame. Be sure to check him out. He streams from time to time. Twitch.tv/Redrame. Afraid of Round Table, that is to say, you sphere it.